Hey, good evening and welcome guys. Today we're going to be running through a installation of Windows 10 Lite. Yeah, we're actually just going to go through the step-by-step from booting up from the CD-ROM drive to, or virtual CD-ROM drive in this case, to, or DVD, to installing it and having it running. So let's get into it. So we're actually using a Type 1 hypervisor to do this, which is Proxmox. So I've dedicated this 2 gigs of RAM, 2 cores. So we'll see how this installation goes. So we're going to start the machine. Go start, and just while we're demonstrating, we'll go to the console so we can see what's going on while we're doing it. So this is the startup screen. So what I'm actually going to be doing is I'm going to be leaving this device alone. All I'll be doing is I'll be manipulating it off another device, just so you fellas can have the full screen. I know the screen access. Actually, what I'm going to try and do, let's see what this does. Oh no, this. Oops. No, I don't. There we go. That's a bit better. I'll get rid of that. So now, look at that. So now we're in the setup mode. Setup's just starting. So there will be slight minor differences in this installation compared to a normal installation, but this is a light edition of 10, so not all the regular features will be installed. Pretty straightforward. You just select next, go next. This is the virtual drive. So now it is copying Windows files, the main, now it'll be extracting. So this is a virtual machine just to catch people up, and what I'm doing is I've actually got I've designated a server, or a computer as a server, for this method to do. So it's called a Type 1 bare metal hypervisor, and what that does is I've actually got two features enabled. I've got the virtualization technology, but I've also got the virtualization direct IO, so I'll be getting near native support with this setup. Just for a brief ones, if you didn't watch my last tutorials, I'd gone this computer for $5, and it's only got 4 gigs of RAM and 4 cores. I can add extra RAM, and I also can add extra storage, which will come at a later stage, but for now we're just using the resources we got with the computer, which is okay for $5. I mean, yeah, I guess the most powerful computer I've got in my arsenal at this time. But they can all change. So I decided to, when I got it, it had Windows 10 and Android on it, so I decided to put an extra 2 hard drives in, one for backup of the VMs and one for the main drive for this virtualization server. So when you turn on the computer, it'll automatically go into server mode when you first turn it on, and if in order to boot Windows 10 and use it as a standalone computer, I have to boot into the boot menu. So it's a good setup where I can just turn it on, it'll boot into server mode, because I do use the Windows 10 and the Android on here sometimes, but mainly I use it in server mode. So yeah, but enough of the rambling. We're at 71% of the installation. I actually done this installation before, but I'm actually doing it on the second hard drive now, and the reason why I'm doing it is just so if the RAM is getting used a lot and the system decides to swap, I'm not losing as much performance, because I've only got 2 mechanical hard drives. So I've got a 500 gig mechanical hard drive and a 750 gig mechanical hard drive as the server. I've also got a 500 gig hard drive that's in there, but that's got Windows 10 and Android as a dual boot on that one. So yeah, that's pretty much the setup. So this is going pretty okay, considering that I gave it half of the cores at least, 2 out of 4. I did notice before that it was running slow when I first done it, but that was because I had installed it on the main hard drive, so the hard drive with the OS on it, and it was swapping at the same time, so it's not as laggy as the last installation. So yeah, so we're almost finished here. I just thought I'd do this in real time. Well, it is in real time because I want to install these machines, and since I'm doing this live and I can't fast forward it, yeah, we're just going to talk over it as we wait for the installation. So it's at 97%, so we're almost done. So the cool thing about this is through many of the things I just have to push really enter. It's a lot of it. There's with this version of 10 you have to enter your account details. You can leave it blank, but yeah, it just it does go through an account setup. So now it's just installing the updates that come with the ISO or the DVD, because usually it's got custom updates that different versions of Windows comes with depending how it was built. Some OEM versions like this one, this is classed as OEM, as I said, it comes pre-activated, so you don't actually have to enter a license key to actually use Windows. It actually lets you use it unlimitedly, but I only use these in a lab environment for my own home lab. So now we're at the restart screen, so we'll just hurry that along and just reboot. So now it's rebooting the virtual machine. So now here we go. Usually when you're installing this on a actual computer, and certain drivers that it finds and installs, sometimes it does need an extra reboot. I know for this instance it's not going to do that, only because the graphical drivers and there's no sound card drivers installed for this, so it probably won't do a second reboot. But here we go. Now what it's doing now is it's initializing and also finding drivers, as I said, but it won't actually find any great drivers, you might as well say. Starting services. Here we go. Getting devices ready. So now it's searching for drivers. Yes, but I can actually install the Proxmox additional drivers anyway at a later stage with a ISO image. I still have to upload it because I've refreshed my whole server. So this is the second VM I'm actually installing. So yeah, we're just waiting for it to I think it's starting to swap slowly because the IO has slightly delayed. This is taking its time, but give it some time. There will be a couple of hardwares I will be changing when I do finish this installation, but I'll do this at the end. When I end this, because all I want to do is show the installation. So it's taking its time, guys. I know when I installed Windows 8 Lite it wasn't as slow, only because it was a smaller operating system. I think this was 2.5 gigs, and the Windows 8.1 was only like 1 point something. So now we should be going through. Oh, it actually did. I must have found some drivers that it needed. So I take that back. It did need a reboot. So now it'll go through the initial setup. Mind you, it did go a bit bigger, so I think it did find the display driver. And usually if it finds a display or graphics driver, it'll reboot. Or sound, but as I said, these don't have, there's no actually sound cards. Well, there's a sound card installed on the PC, but it's not, when you're using this as a Type 1 hypervisor. Mind you, there's probably a way to use your sound cards, I just haven't figured it out yet. But anyway, let's keep on going through the installation. Yep, I thought I'd do a boring long one, because, yeah. Here we go. So now it should take you through the process of setting up the computer. So majority of it will be quite straightforward. As I said, there's no pre-activation with this version of Windows. You don't need an activation key. This comes pre-activated, which is good because it saves me activating Windows. Oh, plus I've got to remember to turn off the updates too, because yeah, it updates a lot. Actually, while we're waiting for this, I'm actually just going to quickly check something. So just let me log out of the console. So what I'm going to check is, I'm just going to see how much swap space is being used. So at the moment, let's see. So at the moment, these CPU, 18% used. CPU, oh yeah. Oh, we're nearly finished. Yep, actually the swap space has been used. At the moment there's 338 megabytes in the swap out of 4.5, only because the RAM is quite full. It's just like 3.7 out of 3.9, so there's only like roughly 200 megabytes left. So I wonder why she's going a little bit slow, but that's all good. That is to be expected. So let's go back into the virtual machine and see what our progress is. I think it's still just at this. I think it's still at the same place. Okay. Let's log back into the console. Here we go. So now we are at the choose. So this is straightforward. So we're just going to go next. I'll just choose the defaults. We'll just go next. Okay. So at the moment, I just got to change the network adapters, but I'll do that when I finish this tutorial, only because it's been going on long enough. So we'll just quickly go through the initial quick setup. So we'll just skip this part because, as I said, I've actually got to change the network card. So we'll just go next. Oh, you can. Or do you got to give it a name? I think you do got to give it a name. I tried skipping this part, but unfortunately you can't. So let me quickly just give it a name. So I'll just name this one. I'll just call it test. Enter. No, we won't need a password. We won't put a password on it because it's only going to be me logging into this. Next. So now the rest of the installation, it's setting up the account now. So this shouldn't take too long. It should only take about a minute or so. So just setting up. So for last final step, sorry it's a bit boring, but we're almost done. Okay. So yeah, once this account setup is finished, because this is what this part is really, the actual computer itself is set up. Now it's just creating my user directories. So this is what it does when it does this screen here. And plus it'll be installing the default apps that are on here as well. Just the cool thing about light editions of Windows, it doesn't come with a lot of bloatware, which a lot of the standard versions of Windows, a lot of them do. So yeah, congratulations. Now we have Windows 10 in a virtual machine, type 1 hypervisor. So yeah, this is Windows 10. Voila. So that is how you install Windows 10 on a virtual machine, or Windows 10 in general. Like, this will also work if you were to do it. This will be the same procedure if you were to do it on a normal computer, except you just have to, if you're doing it for a USB, you just have to make sure your USB is, you select your USB as the boot device and then go through the same procedures. Or if you're using a CD-ROM drive, the same thing, you select your CD-ROM drive as the boot drive or your DVD-ROM and you go through the installation. So yep, it's a installment of Windows 10 Lite. As I said, it comes pre-activated, so I don't have to worry about activation. Yeah, so hopefully you learned something new. So hopefully you have a good night. Until next time, yeah, I bid you a good night, and then until next time, chit-chat.